know enough about e-waste and the problems that's happening out there, or do you think people's kind of not aware?
I think that there's sometimes where people aren't really educated about e-waste, and it's been kind of I don't know, the viewpoint's been slanted towards all of it's bad, or there's this horrendous problem that we have to deal with right away, or all of it's going to China or whatever, and obviously it's not the case. First, I tell people that we export, and then they automatically associate it with like those stories that they see with shipping stuff internationally. But there's a big difference between that material and the stuff that we ship, right? And obviously the difference is the stuff that's being shipped as e-waste. It's not being shipped for its original purpose, which is a computer. It's being shipped to be scrapped. And so, yeah, I think that there needs to be kind of two sides of the story, and a lot of that where, used computers or used electronics, they can be a good thing because obviously if they're donated and they're provided to somebody, it makes them a lot more affordable, a lot more accessible. I mean, here in the States, like I showed you, this is all from donations, all from old companies, and here in the States, we throw away a lot of stuff. Throw away people they're bringing us computers that are just 3-4 years old, that are perfectly fine, great condition, and they're just going out and buying the latest and greatest. So used computers and electronics can provide a lot of opportunity. But obviously you have to deal with scrap eventually, and so there should definitely be programs associated with that.
Since you're talking about scraps, can you elaborate just a little bit how proper recycling saves the environment, not only in third world countries but here in the United States as well?
Well, recycling is, for here, it's if you're recycling something, you're reusing the base materials. So, for the electronics, to make a new computer, you got to have copper, and you got to have all the other metals that go into it. And if you're able to use it from an old computer, that's one less mine, or one less thing that you have to do to get it. So obviously in those terms it helps the environment. Once I get to it with reusing a computer, it's if somebody's reusing it, it's one less computer that they have to buy, and obviously new computers require more materials to build. So if you're reusing it, you're conserving equipment, electronics.
I know you mentioned something about Washington's recycling program.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that, and what is it? So I want to see, is there government involvement in the whole e-waste
it's the manufacturer.
situation?
It's the manufacturers. So this year, they went into effect the Washington's e-cycle program, and basically it's the manufacturers like Dell and Gateway and any company that builds a computer now has to pay a portion of the recycling of the recycling fees. It used to be if you took your monitor to a recycler, you had to pay $10 or whatever to recycle it, because there's costs involved in recycling this stuff. You got to pay to get rid of the glass. You got to pay to have someone take it apart. You can't just do it for free. So they passed legislation, and it's happened in multiple states, where the manufacturer has to pay to recycle this equipment, which is great. It obviously provides a way for the community and people to dispose of their old computer equipment without major costs. The downside of the legislation is, first, when it first came out, it was really bad because they put restrictions on what could be reused and pulled out of the recycling stream and what couldn't. So when it first came out, the legislation said that only materials or only computers that were fully functional could be reused. And so that means only computers that, like, if it comes to the door and if it turns on and works, then we can reuse it. But, like, say for example, if it was missing a hard drive or missing memory, we couldn't reuse it. Then it had to be sent to a recycler who shreds it. And obviously there was a that would have destroyed my organization. It would have put a lot of computers into the shredder, because about 60-70% of the computers that come through the door aren't fully functional. They just need a little bit of repair. They just need another hard drive or whatever. And so, like I said, we worked with a state rep to get that changed so that we could continue with repair. And then beyond that, the law itself has made getting used computers has created a more competitive environment for that. So there's a lot of organizations out there that didn't collect computers in the past, now collect computers and TVs, because the state plan not only pays for the recycling, but it also pays the collectors to collect the computers. So every computer that we collect, or anybody collects, the state plan will pay you like a certain amount of money per pound, regardless of whether it's working or not, regardless of its status. Whatever comes into the door, you get paid, a few cents a pound. So that means like companies like Goodwill or whatever, they don't necessarily do any computer refurbishing. They still want to get the equipment because it makes them money. So like I said, it's made getting the donations more difficult. It's good for us because when we get this stuff and if it doesn't work, you still get paid for it. But getting, if somebody wants to donate a computer and they live in Everett or they live far away, well, they're going to take it to their local, to someplace nearby rather than taking it down to Seattle. Now the computer, whatever, you don't got to pay to get rid of it anymore. You used to have to pay like $10 for monitors or $25 for TVs. Now it's all free. A bunch of them, or just a couple?
Yeah, a bunch.
Okay.
Hold on, I gotta check on it.
Charles Brennick, Director of Interconnection.